Camille Williams. Camille Williams is a 2014 Ardenne High School graduate. She's also the producer of Beyond the Headlines, RJR, TVJ, Gleaner. As always, please like and subscribe to my channel. At the moment, I've got about 290 subscribers. I need more. I want to continue to provide good content for you. Enjoy, like, subscribe, share, and comment. Thank you. Let's meet her. Hi, this is Roger Smith of the True Blue Lounge, and today I have a 2014 Ardenne High School grad who is also the producer at RJR Gleaner Communications Group, Camille Williams. Camille, how are you?
I'm good, ready to get going.
All right, did I get all that right?
You did. That
Okay,
you did.
great, great, great. So, Camille, I'm really glad that you came on my show. For me, this is just some fun. If I met you in an airport and you're from Jamaica and we were having a conversation, these are the kind of questions I'd be asking to kind of get to know you in full. So, first things first,
Okay.
what primary school did you go to?
So I went to Quest Preparatory School, which is on Mannings Hill Road in St. Andrew. And it is unfortunately no more because during COVID, the school closed down. So that's something I'm kind of a little bit sorrowful about. I think the last time I drove by, they were doing some renovations on a section of what used to be the school. So it's like, wow, the school is just not going to be there anymore. And if I was to have children, I can say, okay, I went to this prep school, but they won't know what I'm talking about because it just doesn't exist anymore. So that's a
Okay.
bit sad, actually.
What are your early memories of prep school?
Prep school, Well, early memories. Okay, so I don't know if this is what you're looking for, but there was a guy that I really liked when I was in prep school, and his name was Alex. And even after I graduated, I named everything Alex. I have a guitar now that I got in grade 8, and I call the guitar Alex. I don't know. I just like the name long after the crush. You know what I mean? That's
Wow.
one of those things. You know, when you're a girl and you have a little crush, you those are things that you remember.
That's exactly what I wanted to hear.
That's one thing that I can. What it
Yeah.
is? Why?
Well, I love that. That's something you really remember, you know? What do you remember eating at prep school? What kind of ages were you at prep
At
school?
prep school. All right. So at prep school, I would have been between ages 9, I think, 8 or 9 to 12.
Okay, okay.
And you want to know
Um,
about the food? What
yeah,
I
yeah,
ate?
yeah, yeah. At lunch. What's a typical prep
I
school
mean,
lunch?
well,
What do
I
you
guess
look forward to?
what any kid eats. I mean, there's sweeties. You know, you have bubble gum, and there's a sweetie that they had. I can't even remember what it was, but you have like the fake burger
Uh-huh.
and those sort of things. Like the gummy burger that kids will eat.
Mm-hmm.
And you had all kind of sweeties. There was a sweetie that they called black cherry. I really like that. Okay, so that's the sweetie. Then you also had just your regular lunch, pizza and chicken, rice and peas. What else was there at Quest? Your regular snacks as kids,
Okay.
snackables and whatever else they had. The
Mm-hmm.
regular stuff, crackers
Okay.
and whatnot, Oreos, those things for snacks.
When
But I
I,
wasn't a very rich kid.
mm-hmm. It depends what you call rich.
Should I keep going or? All right. So you want me to give you an example?
Mm-hmm.
When I was in high school, I remember the lunch money I had was about $200. Nowadays, $200 can't even buy a patty. When I was in school, I never really had enough for lunch. I think I would have maybe bought like patties, whatever else was the cheapest, I guess. So I was not a very wealthy kid, but what I had was an appreciation for money and what I actually had. And so, you just make it work because it is what it is. But I think whatever lunch money I got, I don't think it was enough to buy a box lunch. So that's how little that I got for lunch money. But you make it work because that's what you have.
Yep, yep, yep. That's cool. So, what did the rich kids eat differently?
I mean, they could
supposedly.
buy the box lunch. If you you know, like you have a pizza day like on a Friday,
Uh-huh.
and those are the kids who are able to buy all the pizza, but you can only buy maybe one if you're lucky. You know, they can buy all the candy they want, and if they want to drink something, anything they want to drink. But you know, you have a limited amount of money, so
Right,
you just buy what you're able to manage. But
right,
I mean, I think it made me fiscally prudent,
right.
but now I have to be teaching myself how to spend on nice things. You know, my mom is always like, invest in something really good so that it's durable and it can last. You know, I tend to want to buy the things that are cheaper, more affordable, but she's like, just invest in something good. Even if you have to spend your money, she always says, spend your money, buy something good or treat yourself.
Wow.
So those are some of the things that I still kind of have to be teaching myself as an adult. You can buy some nice things, you earn money now, you can spend some money on some good things.
Cool, cool. Hey, so when I heard that you went to Ardenne High School, I done just a little bit of reading and I found out that academically it was like one of the best high schools in the Caribbean. And as
Hmm.
I was actually shocked. I thought Manning's was up there,
Oh, in the Caribbean.
Yeah, I was absolutely shocked. So, was that always the case? And why do you think Arden High School is such a beacon of academia?
Well, so let me give you a little bit of history. Arden was founded in, I think it is 1923. Sorry, I hope I'm not getting the year wrong. Ardenites don't kill me. But the 1920s, I think it's 1923, either that or 1924. And I usually remember the date because my grandmother was born, I think, a year after. So it was founded in 1923. And when they started, the earliest pupils were Caucasians, you know? Because obviously, you know, poor people couldn't afford to send the kids to school. My mom says when she was going to Arden, it wasn't necessarily the top of school that it is now, but I think maybe the investment in the school and the alumni giving back to the school has helped it to become what it is today. But you mentioned academics, and I think we landed in the top 10 for the when the CTEC results came out. I think we inched maybe one position higher, maybe four or so. We're higher than we were. We've been inching up as the years pass by. But we're also good on the creative arts, the performing arts, music and drama and those kinds of things. I was always an artistic kid, so I was in choir. So I have that pride from being in the choir. If you know anything about Arden, we're very good on performing arts, and we literally blow the competition out of the way. But I think aside from the investment from the alumni, I think there's also something about attitude. I think when you get to a particular stage and the teacher's drilling you, hey, you have to achieve Y. Our motto is Die Duce Quaere Optima, which is Latin for with God as guide, seek the best. So when you're drilled in that this is the expectation, naturally you're going to push yourself because you know this is the standard that has been set for me and I need to maintain it. And so I think attitude has a lot to do with do with it, because if you're going to another school, for example, where maybe that's not the thing that everybody's expecting of you, it might be a little bit harder if you don't know if the expectations are high for you. Everybody's telling you this is our standard, this is how you must be, these are you just know, and plus I think you pass for Arden with good grades as well, so you're thinking, okay, I have to maintain this. So it's inculcated in you. This is our standard. This is how we roll. So I guess you have to fall in line as well. But don't just think of art and not academics. We have a very good basketball team. We're not the sportiest school, okay, but I think we have a good swimming program as well. So
Okay.
swimming, performing arts, we have a whole lot of clubs as well. You think talking of extracurricular? I don't know what it is about art and students, but they always want to do so many things. So I was very active in clubs.
Okay, okay.
I think I gave you more than you asked for,
No, no, no,
but you
that's
had me
good.
going on a roll.
So, are there any teachers from Arden High School that are notable in your success in journalism and stuff like that?
Hmm. I don't know directly about journalism because it's when I was applying for university that I actually decided to go for journalism. It was never necessarily an aspiration that I had as a, like as a child. Children know what they want to be. I want to be a doctor, I want to be a lawyer, I want to be a policeman. I never had that aspiration. I actually didn't know what I wanted to do. I thought maybe it might be music oriented because I can sing and I like to play the guitar. So I thought, okay, maybe that's one potential thing. Boy, the light just went out.
No worries.
Didn't have those long-standing aspirations that some people have. I wasn't sure what I was going to do. When I was applying, I thought about doing social work, and my mom said, "I'm not really sure if you want to do social work because of maybe the pay, the upward mobility in it." She thought it wasn't, wouldn't give me that avenue to really grow and go far. And when I was thinking about what I like to do, sorry, and my interests. I know that I always liked news. Always liked. I enjoyed watching the news, which is not common if you're a kid, News. That's supposed to be boring for a kid, but I don't know. I like current affairs. I like those sort of things. I like BBC. So I said, you know what? Let me apply for journalism. And I think it was the only course I applied for. And I only applied to UA. I was like, fingers crossed. I was a good student. Okay, I had good grades, but I wasn't sure. Is it good to put your eggs in one basket? I don't know. But I ended up applying for journalism. So I don't necessarily have a teacher that I can say, okay, this person fed my love for this thing just because it was like right at application when I decided to go that path. But I do have teachers that I remember, like Diane Brown is one of them, my Spanish teacher. Who else did I have? There is a French teacher that I also had. Um, oh no, oh no, it's slipping me. Oh man,
You get it.
I
We're
don't
all
remember
getting a little bit
the
older, Camille. Don't worry.
name. Man, I don't remember the name. But I had teachers like that. And when you get to sixth form and you're like on that cusp of adulthood, so you're like 18, 19, you're like 18, 19, right? And the teachers start talking to you like you're a co-equal now. You're not just a little picnic. They talk to you like you're somebody. She had a lot of frank conversations with us, and she could level with us, and she treated us like we were people who could think critically. And I really appreciated that about her. She made you think about things, challenge your thought process, and that really helped me.
Okay. Um, I'm gonna shift my.
Guys, I'm on an interview. Remember?
Yeah. No, no worries. So
Yeah.
let me shift focus a little bit. Um, Melissa, did it affect any of you in your family? And I was remiss to not have said this or asked you earlier. How did Melissa affect you directly?
No, it didn't actually, because I live in Kingston. Or I guess, okay, I live in St. Andrew, but it's basically what you would consider to be town. So no, Kingston and St. Andrew didn't get the brunt of the hurricane, and if I have family out there, it might be one or two, but it's not a lot of family that I know of. Um, so no, we weren't affected too badly. There were sections of the parish that lost electricity for a bit, and there are still areas in like rural St. Andrew that still don't have electricity, if you can believe it, because of damage to like poles. Even as far away as we were from New Hope in Westmoreland, there was still damage on the eastern side of the country. So no, no serious damage on my side, and thank God for that. I am grateful for that.
No, that's good. That's good. Really nice to hear. For my next segment, I want to just see cognitively how you're doing. Can you name your first form
Oh man.
class and, 5 boys, 5 girls that were in your first form class?
My first from class. All right, let me see. All right, there was a guy named Wickham, and I had a crush on him, and that's probably why I remember his name. So there was Wickham, there was Brandon, there was Mikkel, there was a guy named Tevin. Okay, actually, why am I remembering more of the guys? There was Damil, there was oh, okay, that's more than five, and I don't know why I'm remembering the guys more than the girls.
Let's hear the girls then.
Rachel. Okay, you had Rachel, and you had what was her name? It's like I'm seeing their faces, but the names are escaping me, and I don't know why. Okay, um,
Welcome to
you
old
had
age.
I think you had a Samantha.
Uh-huh.
Was there a Chantel? Yes, I think we had a. Oh, there was Regina. Um, The names, I see the faces, but the names aren't with
No
me.
worries.
It's
You put in a
crazy.
good account of yourself. Would you call yourself a
But
bright
we
kid?
were in class for like several years.
I know.
You know, this is a question I've asked myself. I used to say to my, okay, I never thought I wasn't bright, but I wasn't so big headed either that I would ascribe brightness to myself. I just thought, okay, I'm a hard worker. I put in the work. If I was gonna get grades for things, it's because I studied and I actually did the work. If I didn't, I'd fail. So bright from the perspective of a lot of people, they would have looked at me and said, "Oh wow, she is bright," because I was academically oriented. But honestly, I think I just put in the work. So
Okay.
I don't know if it's brightness. I don't know. I don't know. I always thought if I said I was bright, it would be kind of like an arrogant type of thing. I'm prideful. Oh, I'm bright. I don't know. I'll just work hard.
At the end of every term, did you, when you done
Mm.
your exams, did your teacher used to um, name like the person with the top marks and put all the names down to the bottom, and the kids would see who got the top
No.
of them?
No, we didn't, thankfully. I mean, you knew who were like the bright kids in the class,
Uh-huh.
but no, we didn't have. I mean, and if you know, like there's a part in the report where it would give you the placement,
Uh-huh.
what place you have in your class. I don't think we did that. They just put how many kids were in the class. So I never got to see like, oh, I'm number five or
We
whatever.
had one
But
to
I don't
20.
think I would have been in the top 10.
Yeah, we had a 1 to
No,
20.
thankfully we didn't have that.
Uh-huh. It was bad. It was bad. So,
Okay,
so I'm
I'm glad we didn't have that.
so I'm doing a different segment, okay? And this segment is because of you, Camille. And in the True Blue
Me?
Lounge, we have a crystal room.
Okay.
And we have a crystal room because of
A
you,
what?
Camille. Crystal room.
A crystal room?
Yeah.
Mm.
And in this room, I'm going
Okay.
to ask you two questions. When you're looking for a
Mm.
significant other, are you looking for a provider and a protector or an equal? Okay? Now, these people aren't the same. They're not the same. A provider and a protector is looking after your best interests all the time because that's the kind of person
Mhm.
that person is. And an equal is just like you. For your money, I feel. For them, I for them. You know, you both cook together. You know, whatever you think an equal is. Let me ask you, what are you looking for?
Okay, based on how you have defined it, I don't know if this is gonna be shocking. Maybe I would shock myself. A couple of years ago, but I think I actually would be more attracted to the provider protector.
Uh huh.
Not to say that we shouldn't have our own jobs, but when you decide that you're going to have a partnership and come together, you're building a household, I feel like it can't be a sort of 50-50 kind of thing. Um, 50-50 sounds good on paper, right? But in practicality, it can't always be that. Sometimes you're gonna have to do a little more. Sometimes the other person would have to do a little more. Maybe it's a sort of shared type of thing. Less about percentages and more about, I guess, maybe the greater good of the family. So I think this will be kind of surprising because I feel like if you ask my peers or maybe some ladies younger than me, they would probably go with equal. I don't see the two as two diametrically opposed things. To tell you the honest truth, my sister is giving me the cut signal because yeah, but my sister is like nah, she will go for equal. Okay, you see this? My sister saying the guy would do more, not her. But
Okay.
I do believe that marriage is supposed to be a partnership. However, if I'm thinking about the type of guy, yeah, I would like him to step into that protector role. I do. I guess you would. I guess you would say I have those. Do you want to call it a stereotype? I have those expectations. Yeah, you want a man who can keep you safe.
Okay.
I would want that.
So, are you religious and how does religion help you in your life?
Okay, so I am a born again believer. I'm a Christian. I believe in the God of the Bible and Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior. What role it plays, I could probably give you a whole essay. Um, there are a lot of different roles. So the Lord Jesus is the one I serve, right? It's who I have the most love for because, in Him, I was saved from the consequences of my actions in terms of sin and the consequence of that. How does it help me? It gives me a hope that's bigger than myself. You could live life where everything is on you. I have to be the best, and I have to do this, and I have to work hard, and I, me. But because I know that there's a God out there, it gives me hope. So if my, for example, let me give an example. If my day isn't going well, for example, I can ask the Lord to sort it out. Gives me that inner peace. Take some of the stress and pressure off of me. Could be a very me-centered person otherwise. In him I have peace, in him I have hope, in him I have joy. When I die, I know where I'm going. So that does give me hope. So when the day is not working out or things aren't going well, I can ground myself in the knowledge that I have a strong foundation. I have a rock. I have somebody I can tell all of my most difficult, my low points, my high points. I have somebody I can tell also, and I don't have to go with shame and fear or guilt or any of that stuff. So in him, I have experienced the most fulfillment and the greatest peace. I have an anxious personality. My sister, my mother would be very unsurprised to hear that. I actually find I'm more anxious than I realized I was. But in him I'm able to relax and be at peace because of what he has done for me.
The other question I have for you in this crystal room is
So,
given that you are a child of God, a born again Christian,
yeah.
if you met somebody that was everything to you, they really liked you, really enjoyed your company, you really liked them, but they didn't believe in the God or the gods that you believe in, would you be able to
God,
have a
one God.
relationship? There's about 5,000 of them, Camille.
Yeah, but I'm talking about me.
Okay,
Christians are believe in monotheism. So I
okay,
don't worship a million gods. It's one God. That's the
okay,
Christian worldview. Traditional Christianity anyway.
okay.
If I like the guy like me, but he wasn't a Christian, no, I'm not doing that. I want a man who is a man of God. I love Jesus so much. I need a man who loves Jesus as well. You get me? And
But this
plus,
man
if
is
I
a
got with
really
this
good
person, I
man.
would, I would,
He's
yeah,
he's
but
good
I would
looking.
always be
He's
so concerned for his
thoughtful.
salvation because ultimately, remember, that's my worldview, I'm seeing things through a biblical lens. And if you marry somebody who's on a totally different page from you, there are consequences that you, in the feel good moments, you can't even tell because you're gonna have diametrically opposed views and a whole host of things. Granted, it's not to say that if you're Christians, you can't have different views on things, but there's something you're working with. How you raise your kids, the values you teach them, how you're gonna deal with issues. When things come up, and if I start talking about prayer, let's pray about this, let's seek the Lord. The other person who doesn't know God, that's gonna be like alien language. Seek the Lord. Why you need to go church so often? Why you doing this? Why you doing that? They won't get it.
Does he
You
have to be
know.
baptized as well?
Um, does he have to be baptized? That would be ideal. Because what
Also,
I want, I want a strong man of God. That's what I want. No, get me, baptism doesn't mean you're saved. Let's get that out of the way. Baptism doesn't equal salvation. All right. But it is, let me tell you what baptism is. Baptism is a confession of faith, right? It's a public confession to everybody. Hey, I've made this choice and I'm born again. Baptism is just symbolic. All right. So the idea is that when we go down in the water, we die with Christ, right? The death he took, we die to sin. And then when we come out of the water, we're raised in him, so we have life in him. It is a public confession of faith. So ideally that would be good as well. Yeah.
so typically the dating scene in Kingston, if you're looking for an equally yoked person, where would you find such a unicorn?
Boy, what a good question. And if you find out, tell me. I guess maybe church will be one of those avenues, or you can ask, you ask a friend, you ask your Christian sister, your friend, hey, I'm looking for a guy. You have any friends? And then they can suggest somebody. There was a guy I dated who was like that. A friend suggested him to me, but in the end, we just weren't compatible. 7 months of dating and it barely went anywhere. And mind you, this was in the middle of COVID, so the dating scene was harder in COVID because you couldn't go out and eat and stuff. But it just kind of died a natural death eventually because it started to feel like a chore. You know, when you're not talking to the person, a week passed and you're not talking to them, you obviously know that the interest is not really strong both ways. But I haven't really focused a lot on dating because I've been so career oriented. And now I recognize that I need to actually put myself out there. Not that people haven't asked, not that interest hasn't come, but it's like not really in the way that you want it to come.
Okay.
Um, yeah.
So, being the professional lady that you are, okay, say you took a taxi one day or an Uber and this awfully pleasant man picked you up and started. Oh, and he was a man of God too. But he was you know,
Oh wow.
but he's a struggling taxi driver, you know? And he really
Hmm.
put some real good conversation to you. And he quoted little
Okay.
scriptures, and you could see that there was something you may be able to work with. But you
Hmm.
know, you know how Jamaica is, how independent women look down at the sufferer man. Then when we are drive with taxi, I try and make a living. I want to know, would you give a man like that a
Hmm.
chance?
Hmm. Maybe we'd have to talk and see. I think generally I tend not to be interested when how do I put it? I don't like to really mix work and play. So generally, and there are taxis who make a pass, but they tend to be older guys. Don't tend to be younger guys. Um, so I tend not to necessarily want to mix work and play. If I call a taxi, I just want to get to point A. I don't want to be looked by the taxi. Similar to if it's a delivery person or a security guard. I don't know. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's a me thing. Or colleagues would say, "Hey, you want to go out to lunch?" And I'm like, I don't know. Something about it just make me feel uncomfortable. I don't know. I don't. Maybe it's a me thing. I don't know what it is. But hey, you just said if he's a man of God, right? Born believer. Maybe we talk for a bit. But if we're being realistic, when you're on the dating scene, you do have to consider finances as well. Let's just be realistic. Roger, let's be real. These are things I would have scoffed at when I was younger in my 20s. Oh, rich financial wealth, that's just surface level. But no, I'm 30, so these are real things that you do have to think about. If you want to build a future with said person, how are you gonna pay your bills? How are you gonna have a home? But maybe I'm thinking too far in advance. And this is just dating. I'm thinking way, way, way too far in advance. But maybe it's because of where I'm right now in my life. I would like to get married. I would like to find a husband. Maybe I'd entertain the guy. I don't know, Roger. I could talk to the guy. Maybe it wouldn't have to be romantic initially. Maybe we could just keep things talking about the word of God and stuff. And who knows? Let's see how that goes.
What's a perfect date for Camille?
Perfect date. If it's a first date, something a little bit more on the casual side at first, maybe like a picnic or something like that. I wouldn't say the movies because at the movies you can't really converse and get to know each other. So maybe a picnic, I don't know, going to Emancipation Park or something like that would be nice. Something more less formal and dressed down. Something kind of more casual where you can just relax. I would like that.
And if the man didn't go to the sort of esteemed school like yourself and say his
Mhm.
mastery of the English language wasn't like yours, would you give him a chance? Or it depends on how bad it was.
Hmm, maybe because I would like to have like intellectual conversations with a potential partner. I mean, I'm a journalist, right? So I ask a lot of questions, and I'm always thinking critically. Even when I go to watch a movie that's maybe not so serious, I'm thinking, okay, why did they do this? So is it that he's still intellectually rigorous, but his English just isn't the best? Is it like that?
No, he's like me, a dirty foot black boy from the country, you know? Just a normal
Stop it,
guy, you know?
Rebel. No, man.
You
No,
know?
Rebel. Stop it.
Oh boy. No, that's interesting, very interesting. So let me
These are
take
things I haven't
you.
really thought of a whole lot.
Yeah, let me take you
Some
out
of
to the
those things.
Let me
But
take
because
you
I
out.
haven't dated a lot.
Yeah, let me take you out the crystal room because those are the conversations I love
Okay.
to have. Yeah, those are the ones I love to have. So Camille, when we die, what do you think happens to us?
All right, so you know I'm a Christian. So when I die, let me make it personal first. When I die, I believe that as scripture says, I will go and be with the Lord. So I will no more sin and suffering. I will go to be with Jesus in heaven unless you have the rapture. I would go to be with him and be at peace with God fully in the way that I was meant to be. But if you don't decide that you want to accept the gift of salvation that's being offered to you, to be in a right relationship with God, reconcile with the creator of the universe, then the other option is that you would pay for your sins. You would pay for, aka crimes against God, breaking his law. He is the moral, he's love. People always, focus on the love part. He's merciful, he's just, but he's also just, he's also holy, which means set apart. He's also morally upright. So a moral judge cannot just excuse sin. It has to be paid for somehow. And if you don't want to take the payment that's being offered through Jesus Christ, then you will have to pay yourself. And if you pay yourself, you're looking at eternal separation from God. Why? When we break God's law against a holy, eternal God, the consequences are really significant and eternal. So I guess hell would be that place of separation from God. Yeah.
And what does hell mean to you?
What is hell? Hell is basically a place of torment. There is some debate in Christianity as to whether that is an eternal lake of fire. Like I think Revelation makes reference to that,
Hmm.
or that's going to be like I don't know, a one and done thing. You go there and then there's annihilation is one of the things that some people believe in. So yeah, yeah. I think those are the two options. What do I believe in? I do think that there's more a biblical case for eternal salvation. Sorry, eternal damnation in hell. Based on what's in the New Testament and how Jesus describes that place. Yeah.
Would you want to be cremated or buried?
Cremated.
Okay.
But honestly, because it's cheaper
Hmm.
and we have a space problem in Jamaica in terms of public burial space. One of my
Hmm.
colleagues did a feature on that. There are a lot of parishes running out of space. I think pragmatically, I would go with cremation. Whatever is cheaper for my family, to be honest. Whatever is least burdensome on them, I would say they should go for that. But
That's
it's
fair
a
enough.
hot button topic.
Yeah,
Like people
no.
are very like divided on what they want.
Hmm. What do you think about
You want to know why?
Go ahead, tell me.
Okay, there are some churches that subscribe to burials because there's this idea that your body needs to be preserved, and some people think cremation is like, I don't know, the fire parts kind of scare people a bit. But for me, once I'm dead, that's my body is not a concern anymore because I do believe I will be resurrected, and you don't need my decaying body for that. God can do anything, so
Hmm.
I'm fine with cremation. It doesn't you know bother me.
What do you think about assisted suicide?
Um, just generally, I'm not for it. Have I done a whole lot of research into it? I probably can do a lot more. But I guess because I think of it as like an early death, um, it's kind of like it's one of those difficult things though because you also recognize that people are in great pain.
Hmm.
But I do have some ethical issues about it because it is essentially suicide, and I do have an issue with suicide. Suicide itself. Aside from assisted suicide, I don't think that somebody should take their own life.
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't think you should take your life. So I have some issues there.
Okay, okay, interesting. I'm thankful that you have a view on those
I want
questions.
to know your view, but I know I'm not in the hot seat.
Um, so for me personally, I think assisted suicide. There's a place I think in Switzerland called Gravitas or something like that, where it's like a hospital. You pay your money, and when you deem it's your time, you can just it's it's your life going on your terms, not on somebody else's terms. There's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people that are alive now. They've got really bad dementia, living with strokes. They're suffering. They're living in living hell, and they don't want to live. And I think these
So,
people need the
what kind
opportunity
of
to.
sicknesses do you think that should include? So if somebody has like if they're diagnosed with like a really serious depression where they don't want to live anymore, should they be allowed to have an assisted suicide, or do you think it's really for people who are terminally ill, who are not going to get better and like they're in great pain? Like,
Beautiful,
what would be the bones of that?
beautiful question, Camille. But the way Roger's world view is that every individual, even if I'm mad smuddy, if that person wants to take their
Mm.
life, so long as they're over X amount, say it's 16, 17 years old or whatever the case may be, and they want to make that decision, I think it should be theirs to make.
I guess the reason why I have some issues with suicide is because of the hopelessness that it's fed from. Because that is when you decide that you want to end your life. But you didn't answer whether it was if you're depressed or if you're terminally ill. You just said age. So is it that anybody at any
Yeah, if you're
stage
depressed,
without
if
any
I,
condition?
that's right. If you want to pull the trigger, your business. Yep.
No, no, man,
No, no, you
no.
asked
I
me. I'm
think
just letting you
there's hope
know.
for people.
Yeah, I'm just
Oh, I'm
letting you
sorry.
know.
Okay,
No,
right.
I'm letting you
Okay,
know.
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah. You asked me.
Okay, okay, okay. I did. Okay. All right.
Okay. So Camille, walk me from graduation to this lovely job that you have, and for some reason, I believe you really enjoy what you do. So I'd like to know, what made you go down this path, and how did you land in the chair that you're in now, and what are your aspirations?
All right. So when I graduated, what, high school, or are you thinking
Yeah, no, no,
university?
no. From you, high school, and I want you to walk me through whether it's UWI, KIAS, or UTech, whatever it. Walk us through it. Take your time.
All right. All right. Of course, yeah. So after high school, I spent about 3 years at the new University of the West Indies Mona campus. And before I think it was in my final year, like, when was it that they reached out? I can't remember when exactly in 2017, before I graduated. Milton Walker, or my current group head of news, reached out and said, "Hey, we would like to offer you this job." No backstory. In 2016, in the summer of 2016, year before, I had interned with Beyond the Headlines, and I really enjoyed it. And Dion was really pleased with me. I still have the card that she gave me. She said like I was one of the best interns that she had had, because I really put myself out there and I tried different things, and I wasn't afraid
Quickly,
to
you
do
said you
stuff.
used the
You
word
know,
Dion. Dion who?
Dion Jackson Miller, the
Thank you.
host,
No, 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 no.
award-winning
I
senior
wanted to
journalist,
make no.
senior
I wanted to make
producer.
sure everybody knows who you're referring to, and if you know anything about Dion's father, do you know what school he was the headmaster of?
Yes, he was the head of Morant Bay High School. Wait, no, no, Manning's. Is it Manning's school? It's Manning's, right?
Yeah, oh yeah,
Right?
you don't name another school with
It was.
Mannings.
I think she said it. Wait, no, but
Okay.
she did say it though when we went down there. Yeah, it was Manning's. But you know the reason I mix it up is because she's a very proud Morant Bay High School alum. So that's why I mixed it up. And I know she lived there and went to school there for a while. That's what threw me off.
Okay. Go ahead anyway. Dion called you back.
No. When I was finishing internship, she said I was one of the best interns she had. And then early in 2017, several months before my graduation, but classes wind down. Milton Walker reached out and said, "Hey, we would like to offer you this position as a producer." No, going from intern to producer is a huge jump. It would be like being in grade six and doing Cape. It was hard, but I pulled it off, and I'm still here. So clearly, I guess my work uh, answers it. It is a proof. It was really hard the first couple of years, but I think I've come into my own, and we have an amazing show. We have an award-winning show. So clearly, the work has been good enough that I'm still here 9 years later. 2017, June 2017 is when I started, and next year, June will be 9 years.
Okay. Do you have any hobbies?
Hobbies, yes, I do. So I think I mentioned before playing the guitar, writing songs. I don't write songs anymore, which is so crazy. I was like the songwriting girl from like grade five, grade six. That's why I learned the guitar. I'm trying to get back into the guitar now because jobs and all kind of stuff. Well, my work life took precedence, and I just fell off. Even in university, I fell off playing the guitar. Because academics that took precedence. I like playing the guitar, like singing. What else? Like I like listening to music. I like Asian dramas. I'm an anime watcher, though I'm not as deep into that world as like some of my friends. But I do like Asian entertainment.
I've watched a lot of
Oh, and
these
I like movies.
Korean movies,
Sorry, go ahead,
obviously.
Rachel.
Korean movies, obviously.
Dramas.
No, Korean.
And you know we call them K dramas.
Okay, K
Oh,
dramas.
movies. Okay. I think I've more been into Korean music and Korean like webtoons. Webtoons are like it's like online comics if you want. You could call it that. It's like manga, if you know about Japanese manga, which is just printed art, but it's like the Korean version of it and it's online. So
Right.
I like that. I like that type of stuff.
You know, I was in Tokyo and I was in a 7-Eleven wanting to buy some drinks.
Oh, you went to Tokyo.
Yep.
Okay.
And there was a group of men lining up reading comics. And
Manga, you have to get it right.
yeah, and I just couldn't believe that this was, older men in a 7-Eleven
Mhm.
store reading comics with not even,
It's like
actual comical
it's like one
features.
of their greatest exports. Yeah,
Wow.
it's one of their greatest exports. Anime, manga, that type of art form. That's what they do. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. All right. So
Why are you
tell
surprised? Why are you surprised?
grown men reading comics in 7-Eleven. I
So
go to 7-Eleven to pick
so there
up.
are grown men who read comics now.
Yeah, but I wouldn't see myself standing up in a 7-Eleven getting my
Yeah.
kicks from reading a comic. I'd buy the comic and go home.
But it's think of it like this. So you know how you have people who like to read books.
Uh huh.
This is just it's still storylines, but it's just in picture form.
Right.
That's the only difference. Or like watching a show, it's a storyline with characters and all of that, just in this form. So
Wow.
there's nothing wrong with that.
Not me, not me, not me. Are you a Windows person or a Mac?
I am a Windows girl. Yep,
iPhone, Android, Samsung? What kind of phone do you rock?
Android, Android, Samsung.
Any reason for
But
that?
it's more about the costing. I never got into the iPhone craze, or maybe it's because when I got my first phone, they were not iPhones. So I just never got into that trend. It's still Samsung. No, I'm fine. I'm just fine with it. It's not like, oh, I think Samsung is better, Android is better. It's just what I know. So I'm comfortable with. Plus, I feel like iPhone take a whole lot more commitment. If you get the iPhone, I feel like you're gonna need everything else with it. You're gonna have to have the AirPods. You're gonna have to match the phone. The charging cable has to match the phone. Everything you need has to match the phone. It don't make sense. Like, would it make sense to have like a regular Windows computer and don't have an iPhone? Like, is that normal? Wouldn't you have to like? I feel like you have to commit. You have to go the extra mile. If you're gonna have an iPhone, but you might as well just have the iPad, just have the MacBook. I don't know. That's my impression.
Yeah,
But I
I
feel like with
you're
Samsung, I
right.
don't have to be as committed.
You are correct. Once you have one piece, you might as well have the rest. So
There
Camille,
you
if
go.
you
Okay. And I never got into that.
so Camille, if you were to go back to your 16-year-old self, the sixth form girl or whatever, 18-year-old self, what would you tell her?
I would tell her that it's going to be okay. You don't have to be so anxious about everything. You don't have to have all the answers. And I used to be afraid of being an adult. I used to be afraid of getting older. Like kind of Peter Pan syndrome. I just had this trepidation about getting older. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna have to pay bills, and I don't think it's gonna be so hard. And I was afraid of getting older. No, I'm actually proud of. Okay, I don't have a lot of gray hairs, Roger, but I have like maybe one hair somewhere else, and I'm proud of it. I feel like, Camille, you actually did it. You do not have to be afraid of getting older. You don't have to be afraid of stepping into the world. Take the challenges, take the plunge, try new things, and don't get too comfortable. But you're gonna be alright. With God as guide, seek the best. And I mean that. That's what
If
I would
you
tell Camille.
if you could wave a magic wand, what would you change about the world and yourself?
All right. If okay, let me start with me first. The micro, right? If I could change one thing, I have several things I like to change, but if I could change one thing, I would say my eyesight. My eyes are very beautiful, light brown eyes. But growing up from about 8 to the end of university, I wore glasses. I would give myself perfect vision because it's one less thing to worry about. I have a particular condition called keratoconus, and long and short, it just means picture like an egg is like kind of ovalish, right? That's the shape of my cornea. It's kind of more oval than it should. It should be round, but it's not as round. So when the light hits my retina, it goes all over the place. I have blurry vision. That's one of the big issues. I have issues with bright lights. If I would just change my eyesight. Give myself 20/20. No more contacts. No more of that. And I have to get new contacts every 2 years. I would just completely take out that hassle. And if I did that, maybe I could have learned to drive. Start the process earlier. But if it was about the wider world now, I would say maybe fixing broken families, giving kids good homes. Kids who are orphans or in some abusive situations. That's something that I think I would like to fix.
Interesting, interesting. It's nice to know that the human heart is such that there are people that still care. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hope it's not completely lost. We are in a pretty dark, I think, increasingly cold world, but there are still people out there who care about people. And just to add to it, there's a question you asked me earlier, the way that my Christian faith has helped me. I think made me less selfish. Taught me how to be more mature, how to be more loving, how to offer more grace, kindness, looking after the poor, the widower, the person who doesn't have the most. I started teaching a Sunday school this year, and that's born out of I think I have a teaching gift and I love kids. So when I combine the two of those, you get Sunday school. It's the way that I give back because I think a lot of the times we are very comfortable receiving, and that's one of the ways that I give back to my community. And I want to use my gift to lift my church. So yeah,
When you think of the future, are you hopeful?
I am hopeful. I actually want to do a master's. I applied for a particular scholarship. I won't say what it is, but I'm ready to now take the next step and get a master's. I didn't know what I wanted to do before, but one of my colleagues did a broadcast journalism degree. And you're shopping to see what degrees you would like, and I realized that that would be perfect. I am hopeful. I just hope that I get going, that I become more active. Because one of my vices is that I can get too comfortable. You get comfortable in the place that you're in, but I want to challenge myself. So I just hope I get out there and do what I need to do. My motto that a colleague gave me is like nothing tried, nothing gained. Nothing tried, nothing gained. That has helped me more than once to actually come out of my comfort zone. So I am hopeful. Yeah, I am hopeful. Is it my future or is it just the future in general? Is
I
that the
think
question?
no. When you look at, are you hopeful? Meaning, not yesterday. I mean, tomorrow, next week,
Yeah,
next year, the
yeah,
year after, 5 years from now. Are you hopeful? Are you smiling,
yes.
or are you
I am
thinking,
hopeful. I am. Cause what's the alternative? As you
doom?
know, the world is very dark. Yeah, it's dark and depressing. And it's easy to get yourself in that mentality where you question yourself. I have struggled with that, over questioning myself, second guessing. But because of my faith that I have now, and it's more like a renewed sense of faith more now than ever. The last 2 years, I got to a very low point. And then when it got really hard, sometimes when you're at your lowest is when you look up, right? And I got to that low point and I cried out to God and I said, Lord, you know what? I'm ready to like go with you all the way because I was kind of half in, half out kind of thing. Wasn't ready to fully dive in and serve him wholeheartedly, because there were things that I wanted to do. But when I took that dive, I can say without any hesitation, the other side is so much better. And that's where I get my hope from. If I didn't have the faith I have in the God that I serve, no, I don't know where I would be. I don't want to consider where I'd be. I know I'd be in a darker mentality, limping through life and with a lack of motivation, and all kind of just struggles. I'm not saying things became, suddenly better. Everything is 100% perfect. But I found that when I changed, my outlook on the world changed, and though I was still in the same situation, when your outlook changes, right? When your attitude changes, even if you're in a tough space, I don't know, suddenly it doesn't seem hopeless. It doesn't seem like you can't do anything or you can't be this. You know, my validation stopped being my work, my job, and it's easy. Anybody who is my age will tell you. We're told to be career oriented, and you put everything in your work. No, I'm at the point where I'm like work cannot, and that alone cannot be my life. I want to do more than that. Work is something I do to earn a living, to use my skills in a positive way, but it's not the sum total of who I am. You have to draw meaning in life outside of your work, and that's that thing. So my hope in God keeps me going.
Okay. You know, I feel as though I've got a feel. I feel like I know you a little bit now from the questions. I do have one more question
Okay,
for you. One more.
sure.
Would you
hmm
date a guy that doesn't drive and doesn't own a car?
I mean, I don't drive or own a car, so if I don't do those things, I can't have that standard for the guy date.
But I
You
don't
know that one
I take
song?
taxi then.
You know that song? Huh?
No, which song?
You know the song, right? There's that song. It's an R&B song. I might think of this. I might remember it after we come off. Where the girl is saying, something like, "I don't date no." Like the guy who's driving with his friend and he doesn't own his car is looking the girl,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
she's saying,
yeah.
"I don't date that guy."
That was
You know what I'm talking about? It's an
yeah,
R&B
yeah,
song, but
yeah,
I can't
yeah.
remember who sings it. And
Scrubs.
it have a little R&B and little rap in there.
I don't want no
Scrubs, yes.
scrubs. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
No scrubs.
yeah, yeah.
That is what she says. If I don't drive and I don't have a license, can I really be that? Can I really be like that? That would be like a double standard, right? And I don't even have a good reason that I don't have those. I'm working on them. I can't be unfair like that. It would be nice, It would be really nice because if I don't drive, I'd love a drive. But if I don't have it, Why would I have a double standard and want the guy to have it? That don't make sense. A lot of
Okay.
the times I think we think on what we want from the partner, but the next question is what can we offer? What can we give? That's a harder question to answer, I think.
When you're getting me to ask more questions because I just love
I thought
your
that was the last one.
no, I just love your outlook. But I'm gonna ask you another one. There are a lot of what's called in Jamaica single mothers. Yeah?
hmm
But if there's so many single
Yeah.
mothers, there must be all these single fathers. Why do
Not
you
so
think there's
actually.
so many
I
single
think there's
mothers?
a hmm. I don't know if maybe because of the relationship how it started. A lot of people are not necessarily planning to get married or looking for a husband. And if you start with that premise and you have unprotected sex, then you're naturally gonna have women who get pregnant outside of that. I'm not saying all marriages last, because everywhere in the world you have high divorce rates. But I do think a lack of family planning, unprotected sex, the kind of lifestyle people live feeds into that. And but that's only one part of the issue, probably. I don't necessarily know what exactly feeds into that. I think my mom would say maybe slavery, broken families from the get go. So you end up in a space where you just end up having a lot of that. The instability that slavery caused and the generational culture that stemmed out of that could also be some factors. And then you also have another reality, which is a lot of men sleeping with a lot of different women. And when that happens, you have a lot of different baby mothers, unless you're gonna settle down with her. But the men they don't necessarily want to be in a committed relationship
Camille,
either.
Camille,
So you
Camille.
end up with women who are single.
That is
Sorry, I
very
went on a monologue.
no, that is very anti-man. The men sleeping around with lots of women.
I Some of them.
You know how many
No, but Roger, think about it.
do you know how many
Wait, no,
jackets?
Roger.
Do you know how many
Wait,
jackets
no,
men are getting in
Roger.
Jamaica?
Outside of the jacket situation, just think back. My mother's generation. My dad had a whole heap of kids. I'm not even sure how many he had. Why? He had a lot of women, so he got a lot of women pregnant. So you have a lot of single mothers, and they're also not doing unprotected sex. It goes both ways. On that decision is a two people decision. She decides she don't want to have. protected sex, he decides that just look at our generation. You know, when our parents, our grandparents had a whole heap of kids, and these were not always women he was married to. And then my mother's mother also had like two sets of kids. It's part of the culture. This is the honest reality. I think when you do the surveys, you have more single mothers. Most of the households in Jamaica more are headed by single women than single men.
Well, I
And
think women are.
I think it has to do with the relationship.
I think women need to do a better job of selecting good mates.
It takes
And
two to tango. Men
and
also need to do better jobs.
okay, I'm going to give you a nice example.
Okay.
Women choose who they want to sleep with. Men
Hmm.
sleep with women that allow them. Take away abuse and rape. I'm not dealing
I
with
think it
that.
goes both ways. But
Women,
why do you characterize that differently? Men choose who they want to have sex with, and so do women.
no, 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 no,
It
no, no,
takes two
no.
to make a
Women
child.
choose. Yeah. When a man ugly or in short or in
They
this or
both
in that,
do.
women are the first one for set. Mm-mm. But when a woman
Hmm.
likes a
But
man,
men also choose.
no, they're not.
Uh
Men,
huh.
men aren't choosing. Men are a different animal. Men sleep with
What do
who
you
we
mean?
allow them to.
No, you have different standards. Men are very serious. If they want to marry a lady, they will do that. If they don't want to marry her, they will do that. I'm not saying that I'm trying to take away the responsibility women have, you know. A lot of unpacked pregnancies could not have happened if women were more responsible about their bodies and said no to, I don't want to use the word, but growth. You know, you think long term, is this person father material? And if I do this
There you
action with this
go.
person, I could get pregnant.
Precisely.
It's not untrue, but
Women's
but I feel like
women.
you're letting off the men.
No, I'm not
You're
letting the
letting off
men
the
off.
men.
Here's the problem. Here's where the problem occurs. These women not setting this criteria, allowing their
Uh huh.
bodies to be entered by um, um,
All
different
a sundry,
different
as I would
men.
say.
And the worst thing that
Hmm.
happens is that these women that can't hold a man, don't know the criteria of having a man, probably never grew up with a father in
Yeah,
the home, they're having boys. The prisons in
and you need
America,
a man. You
yeah,
need.
the prisons in America, I'm sure,
Yeah, I fully agree with you.
yeah,
You're not
so,
wrong.
and it starts from the smarter of us. And the smarter of us is the woman.
Hmm.
Okay, thank you, Camille. Thank you, thank you. I like that. I
You
like
know,
that.
I feel like your female viewers will cheer in the background.
Say that
But I
again.
think it's a responsibility. Your female viewers will be cheering after hearing you say that, I'm sure. But I think it goes both ways. I think both people have to make up their mind. I'm not gonna live my life like this because if I do that, this is gonna be the result. I don't think people are thinking long term, and who suffers the most? Children. Because if you're not in that committed relationship, if you're not working to build a household, if you're not intentional with who you're with, then yeah, future generations suffer, and then your grandchildren can also feel the choice you made. And that's the sad thing. You know, you watch the court shows and the women are there, they don't know who the father of their kids are, and you're like, this is sad though, because the baby shouldn't have to be dealing with the consequences of a lack of control or unprotected sex or whatever. It's different if they came together and they divorced. That's really sad, and that can hurt kids in ways that nobody anticipated. But if you have casual relationships, sleeping with anybody, you know, and then you don't know who your kids are, that's so sad. We watch the court shows and you see adult kids, adult children, I should say, who are there in the courtroom who don't know who their fathers are, and you can sense that deep sorrow in them, a lack of knowing your own identity, and how it hurt them, and how they take on that hurt into future relationships and react to things in ways they don't even know how deep. You know, that absenteeism, that they don't know that how deep. Well, maybe they do, maybe they know the extent of it, but I feel like there's some unconscious things that come from a result of fatherlessness, and it's just sad. You watch the shows and the girls or the boys are there, tears in their eyes, and they're hoping that this man will be their father, right? And then it's when it's not the father, it's like who they thought they were, they're not. And that's just sad. And you know what I will say? There are a lot of men who are out there raising kids who are not theirs. And I do think something is, if it's something the two of them agree on, if the guy knows from the get go, this is not my kid, but I will raise this child because I love this woman and I will love this child and I will be that father figure, that's great. But there are a lot of women who are being dishonest, who probably know who the kids are. Sometimes they really don't know. And they lead the guy on, and then when he finds out later, it mashes up the relationship with the child and him. I don't know. It goes back to decision, as you said. Being intentional about your partner and how it hurt your kids. I don't want to be like that. I have a household where both my parents are here, and they set an example. Their marriage has not been perfect. There have been a whole lot of issues, but I was able to benefit from a stable household where my parents were together, where I didn't doubt if my parents loved me, and they provided for me. I didn't have to deal with an absent dad. My mom, her parents weren't married, so for most of her life, he wasn't involved. He sends money, but money can't replace a parent. How do I know what to expect of a man? I'm gonna have to get it from TV, from uncles, from books. I won't have that very real example. How do I set what I want? Because those of us who are children, you see bad and good in your parents, and you can decide, okay, this is what I would like, this is what I don't like, and then you can build an expectation in your mind. And so I don't want to do what I see other women do, or the way where they end up, not judging them, but I think on those things deep, and I'm like, I don't want that for myself or my children. So I would hopefully one day I can, get married and build that household. But I don't want to perpetuate the ills that I see from this thing. So I'm gonna make the right decisions. So I don't believe in premarital sex, for example. I'm not gonna engage in that because I feel like that would put me in a very unstable place. I don't know what the ramifications could be of that, so I'm not gonna engage in that. Hard road, Roger. Very hard road in this kind of world that we live in. But even though it's hard, it's not impossible. So as difficult as it is, I'm gonna keep going on it.
So, Camille, this is really good. Now
Yes,
we
Roger.
know. We know when a young man watches this, he knows purity. Purity.
Get yourself together. And I feel like that's gonna be really hard because I've had guys say to me, like when I've talked about, I don't believe in premarital sex, men and friends, like colleagues, you have those discussions, and the answer is something like, "You're not." One guy told me, "You're never gonna find a guy like that," and I said to him, or it's gonna be very difficult, and I said to him, I would like that 1% guy. I want that guy. I don't know if I can get him because if he's my age, men who are my age probably have kids by now. I don't know. It's gonna be hard. I don't know fully what the dating scene is gonna look like, but I want a guy who is determined in his mind that he's gonna wait as well. So we will honor each other in that way. Didn't say it would be easy. And there are different arguments. Why would you wait? Why don't try out first? Suppose you're not compatible. Suppose you have said it before. Suppose you're on your wedding night and you're not satisfied. We can figure it out together.
No,
It's about
can I
exploration. We have a
review what I
whole marriage
said?
figure it out.
I didn't
What did
actually
you
say that.
say?
I said you didn't want any disappointments on your wedding night.
Ah,
Yeah,
I got you. Well,
yeah. I didn't
we
use
have
the
to
word
work.
I didn't use
Think
the
about
word
it this way.
satisfaction.
I will be. Mm, we can explore together. That's what marriage is supposed to be about. Hello, nobody not perfect the first time, so
That's
you know.
kind of well. All I have to say to you is that your requirements are very,
Uh huh.
very, yeah, very, very hard to
That
be
I
met.
don't
Yeah,
don't. Yeah,
and
I know
um,
that.
and I just
I know
hope
that.
that you know that marriage is
I
a
know that.
yeah, marriage is a tough road, and it seems that women are
Roger,
the ones that
nobody said the
divorce.
Christian. Nobody said the Christian path was easy. Jesus never said it would be a better road. So I'm not naive. Um, but what it does mean is waiting longer. That's not easy. That's hard. But this is the path I've chosen.
If you met Alex, you know Alex. I just,
my
I just
personal
hope,
crush.
I just hope Alex is still around.
You
He's
still
a man
remember
of
that?
God and he's a virgin. He's
Eh,
a professional and he has a car and he likes picnics. I just hope he's
I
all
no,
right.
why no? I said he doesn't have to have a car. I
No,
said
no, no,
that.
no,
I
no.
made
I
I made
just
that
no, I
allowance.
know, but I don't. I wouldn't like to see you and Alex at the bus stop. Not a good look. Not for Camille. Yeah, they'll be like,
Yeah, that wouldn't be a good
Camille,
look for
big
sure.
Camille from the RJR, their bus stop. No, 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 not a good
No,
look.
but the beauty is when you're on the radio, people don't know what you look like, so they probably don't even know. Say, oh, that girl is the producer behind it. They don't know.
Sure. Hey,
That's the beauty of being in
after
radio.
this
You're behind
RJR put
the
you,
mic.
they're gonna put you on front now. After them see you know, when they see that you've got a
Uh,
face made for TV, it
but
will
that's
be
not a
good.
bad thing.
There you
That's
go.
not a bad thing. I'm trying to expand into. I want to expand into TV. I want to explore that.
Cool, cool,
I can
cool.
do it. So why not? Yeah.
So, hey, I'm really happy that you came on my show, and I thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I think we spoke for more than an hour.
I
Who
hope
knew that
pe-
was possible?
I hope people watch for over an hour. Thank you very much, Camille.
Uh, Thank you for having me, Roger. Let me know when it airs.
Okay.